my share jumped up by 80%. And in this one, I had actually put quite a bit.
Look at this girl gloat. It's such an ugly look.
You think I'm ugly?
I'm not saying you're ugly, on the contrary, honey, but you're doing like this. You're really
It's just
gloating when you're beating me
It's
after
just so
losing for months.
exciting because, yeah, exactly. I went down to $6, you know?
Yeah, it's true. No, I do. I think it's amazing.
And we are live with the NFA Podcast this week, coming to you from Dubai and Indonesia. Welcome to this week's episode of the NFA Podcast, your almost weekly podcast where we bring you all the news and tech and market insights from all the emerging and disruptive industries, every single one of them. So, cheated. Well, we usually start with our news section. So, I mean, the big news last week, which has been all over my feed, I don't know about yours, but it's all about taxes. And, you know, the UK tax structure was announced. The Swedes voted
against... You live in
Dubai.
Wait, you people pay no tax. What are you talking about? Taxes.
We don't pay taxes, but international taxes do affect markets.
Okay. So what's your news about taxes then?
Well, the UK tax structure was announced and it was not received well. If you're in the UK, I'm sorry for your loss. The main takeaway is that someone earning £37,000 a year is getting taxed £1,200 more per year, and someone who has 5 children and does not work earns £4,000 more pounds per year, and some of them roughly up to £137,000 just for having kids. Make it make sense.
How does it say that again? Now I don't have kids.
Okay.
So how does this go?
Basically, the UK gives benefits to families with multiple kids. So a family that has, let's say, five kids and does not work earns more than your person that's going to work every day, that's really trying to hustle it out. And other politicians have called it a tax on ambition, which I think is a perfect way to put it. And then also they introduced the inheritance tax, which would mean, like, for example, let's take farmers. They inherit this piece of land from generations. They now have to pay tax on that, which is ridiculous because the land is not liquid. So now they cannot afford the farms that they've had in their family for generations. And it's just, it just does not make any sense why they would structure their taxes this way.
I think taxing on inheritance, I don't think it's strange, but there should be a way that you have to be able to pay it. So if the asset is not liquid, it doesn't make sense to tax them on the value.
No. Do you find it interesting that these people have already paid taxes on their income, already paid the tax to buy the property, and now that they're transferring the property ownership, there's a third time that it's being taxed?
Yeah, but here's my reasoning behind it. I don't like it when rich people keep the money and don't invest in the economy. So I think this will then get them in a way to then invest their money out while they're still alive and put it in the economy instead of hoarding it and never putting it in the economy. I like it when assets become liquid, and so that they actually then think, oh, I'm going to pay tax if I die. Oh, crap. It's better if I invest it.
I think in the UK it's a bit different because I guess, yeah, we try not to be political, but a lot of the budget is going towards funding wars and funding immigration rather than to its own people.
That depends on what the elections always do, right? If people vote differently, then the assets will be used differently by the government. I think the idea would be that you don't have rich people just keeping their money, let's say in bank accounts, because this typically has happened, of course. And then the banks start investing in their asset managers. But very often it's just in savings accounts, and then the banks get richer.
Okay.
I know. Well, that was your news.
In other news.
Interesting.
The UAE did introduce a new financial law, and this was to regulate DeFi companies. So basically, like self-custody wallets and other DeFi tools are unable to operate in the UAE unless they are registered here, which I think is obviously just to bring companies into the UAE, because the UAE is such a big crypto market that it's inevitable that these companies will set up here. So that'll be interesting.
That will be interesting. We are obviously with Tracer set up in the UAE.
Yeah.
Just because of the regulations, because the clarity of the regulations. I think people think it has any. They think it has something to do with taxes, but it really wasn't. So
No,
the whole
because
thing was
corporate
because you
tax still
pay
applies.
exactly corporate tax
Yeah.
still applies, and very few people know this niche. It's really they always think, oh, there's no tax. No, there's 9% corporate tax. That's not the issue. The issue was the clarity of the regulations. And for example, we are registered in RAK DAO, Digital Asset Oasis, and it's very clear what you can do, and your license letter actually indicates the classifications in which you can operate, like in Tracer's case, to operate a DAO. And it actually says DAO services, which is still like sort of a pride thing for me. Like, we have a license for something that says this company can operate a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. It's cool. Nowhere else. Where else could you do this? Seriously,
well,
in a serious
Dubai,
country.
they've increased the corporate tax to 15%. So I'm guessing that that's going to happen to RAK DAO soon.
No, not to us. Digital free zone, baby. 15?
Yeah, 15%. From 9 to 15.
I'm Ras Al Khaimah all the way. And next year, we're opening a casino in Ras Al Khaimah, which I also think is great. There's going to be a Wynn casino opened very close to our office. If now people can make the jokes about crypto and gambling, because it's really, I think from our office, you can actually see the Wynn resort being built. It's going to be, I think it's a 3 billion USD project, which, sizable. I think Tracer, which means Tracer and this new casino sort of in the same level of capital value.
I
that
like
was
the
a
comparison.
joke. Yeah. You gotta aim high. Think big. What else you got?
Oh my God, I read this really funny piece and I had to add it in here. But you know Fireflies note taker?
Yes, of course. I just blocked it
Okay.
from the Tracer meetings. Yes.
So get this, the founder came out last week and said that they didn't have AI. The initial subscriptions were him and his co-founder physically joining the calls as Fred from Fireflies and taking notes.
I heard that. But I don't know how long he did that. I'm assuming that there were 2 meetings. What would you do if they had 2 customers having a meeting at the same time? 9 a.m. New York time. What are you going to do?
Well,
one guy
there
would
are
do
2
one meeting.
co-founders, so yeah.
The problem happened when there were 3 meetings.
Okay, so in my other news, MoonPay partnered with PumpFun, and they have basically made it easy for you to buy crypto directly through Apple Pay credit card on PumpFun. And normally MoonPay, if you've used MoonPay, it has really high fees. Like I've been almost charged around 20% and obviously did not do it. But the
20%?
on average 20%. Yeah, and projects
Makes
can
no sense.
add additional fees. So I'm assuming that project added their additional fees. But right now, like we integrated it with Rider and we're still getting 8 to 10%. And so MoonPay's basically removed the fees with PumpFun just to help onboard users.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting though. But the fees are going to be lowered now?
I don't know. I think that's on
interesting.
MoonPay to decide because who else is doing it, So right now they can charge whatever they want.
Oh, well. Oh, interesting though. And it's a good development. Let's see what happens.
And I guess this kind of falls into markets, but there are a lot of tokens that are set to unlock over the next month in December. Specifically, $1.8 billion worth of tokens are going to be unlocked. So,
How many projects? 3.
around 8 of them.
Oh, like big ones? And like top 20? Top 20?
Sui's one of them. PumpFun is another one. Aptos, LayerZero, amongst others. So that'll be interesting.
That will be bad for the altcoin market.
Yeah.
For sure.
And if you want to know bad for the altcoin market, well, I don't know if you've seen, but basically Barcelona, they signed a deal with zero knowledge proof. And zero knowledge proof, like they just do zero knowledge. So it's on-chain verification without any, like it just cross-checks everything. So it's privacy related stuff. Now, Barcelona put out an official statement saying that we have no affiliation, they're only a sponsor. And Zero Knowledge Proof decided to take this and celebrate it and say, yay, we made it in headlines.
All right. Was that all your news? I think
that's
it
all
was.
My news. It's your turn.
I basically have one really big news item, which is now the sort of debate in the US, which unfortunately is developing along political fault lines, where AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the House of Representatives for, I think, New York, Brooklyn, she basically came out against crypto. Now, not against crypto, sorry, against AI infrastructure investments, because she's afraid that since, and here's the big news, the Wall Street Journal reported that 40% of the US GDP growth this year, 40%, is the result of AI infrastructure spending. 40.
That is so
Which,
impressive.
yeah, it's impressive and it's scary, because it means now if this fails, if this is a bubble, it will drag down the US economy into a recession, and as such, the world. And at the same time, David Sachs, the crypto and AI czar for the White House, said that he says a lot of investments will fail, but in the end, the overall growth that will come out of it will be more than the losses, which from a VC perspective makes total sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know if in an economical macro sense, this also works. And who's going to be hurt when when this bubble does burst. So for my newsletter, I really studied, is it a bubble or not? And I found through Fred Wilson, legendary VC in Zynga, Twitter, Coinbase, really super smart man that I've admired for more than 20 years. Wilson linked to Evan O'Donnell's dashboard. And that's the guy who came up with the dashboard that checks, and here's the cool thing, the amount of tokens. So tokens, not crypto tokens, but queries on AI tools, if they map out against the infrastructure spending. So are the amount of demand and the usage, is it in line with the infrastructure spent?
Mm-hmm.
And for this to make sense, listen to this. AI usage has to grow 9 to 12% per month. And so far, it is, which is even weirder. So basically looking at the data, there's not a bubble. However, The Economist came out with an article that said only 11% of the US workforce uses AI, and it's a declining percentage. So I'm now at a loss.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the factual data is, yes, AI is being used heavily, but by only 11% of the US workforce. And now I'm thinking those two things could both be true, which means that a small amount of people, small percentage of the US workforce, is using it a lot.
Yeah.
And more. So those two data points don't have to be contradictory, but it is weird. So I'm now on the fence, and I officially don't have an opinion anymore on the fact, is it a bubble or not? So
Do you
I'm back
think that
from
the
it is a bubble.
is going to burst like what we saw with crypto? And even though we argue crypto is not a bubble, do you think that the movement is priced in and it will just stagnate?
Now, here's the really weird thing that happened. So there's this AI critic called Gary Marcus. I love his newsletter. He's super critical. He basically says that the new Project Genesis by the Trump government is already a bailout in action. And what is that? The Genesis project is a research project where the US is investing in sort of universal AI infrastructure, supposedly only for research. But what Marcus is saying is that this will actually be used to bail out the AI companies once the whole thing tanks. Because then they will say, oh, Genesis just needs to buy a lot of NVIDIA chips and needs to build data centers. We need it for research purposes. And by that could be a way where the government uses government funding to prop up the AI companies in the end. If it does. And exactly what Jensen Huang said, the CEO of NVIDIA, he said STEM schools are really good in China. They're good at math. So I think they have everything. China has China and the US are just leading it. And I also find, by the way, interesting what's happening in your region. Abu Dhabi and Saudi are really trying to get into the AI boom by investing on the top end, using their investment funds to fund, and also building data centers.
They invested $15.1 billion into Microsoft for expansion.
That's a long list we already discussed, but they're really, especially Abu Dhabi's investment fund together with the Saudi investment funds, are really investing heavily already through the VC funds indirectly, but also more and more directly, also in OpenAI. All right, we have to move to markets.
Well, in the market section, should I start with a snapshot, or do you want to start with anything else?
So I have a tip and I don't have tips. As a company, I want to point out, let's put it that way. I'm not saying Google stock will go up, but I find it interesting that when I looked at it this morning before we recorded, Google stock is up 68% this year, but it's only up 2% for 365 days. And this is the scary part. So if you bought it a year ago, you didn't do great. You could have bought better the Nasdaq Composite. If you bought it January 1st, you did great this year. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If people read these articles that say Google went up 68% this year, I'm like, yeah, that's over the last 11 months. But they must have had a crash then December last year, because over the full 365 days, not so great.
It's only 2%.
Yeah, exactly. But the Nasdaq Composite, and that actually is my tip. If you get in this space, then better buy the Nasdaq Composite Index. It's up 21% for the year. Bitcoin is down 8, Ethereum down 15. I mean, what am I? We're doing this whole trading competitions and everything, talking about markets. Just buy the index, you do 21%. It's humbling,
But not financial advice.
Not financial advice. But seriously, it is humbling, is what it is. I mean, me with all my little investments. Jeez. I'm just embarrassed. I'm serious.
Well, I guess to go over the market snapshot. So the entire crypto market is under $3 trillion. It's now sitting at 2.93 trillion, down from 3.48 trillion last week, or our last recording 2 weeks ago. Bitcoin is at 85,000, 22% from last month. Ethereum is at 2.8 thousand, so 2,800, down 27% from last month. The altcoin index is at 24, which, if you're new here, this is the comparison of how altcoins compare to Bitcoin. And last month we were at 61. Sorry, last month we were at 24 and 61 2 months ago. So today is sitting at 24 again. Oh, God, the fear and greed index. Last week was 15, so this week we are better at 20. But
it's up 33%.
We're down 27% from last month and 57%. Well, 57 from 2 months ago. So
this is why this show is called NFA, not financial advice. Also Nish frackers and others, but this is why it's not financial advice. I bought my last Bitcoin at 115, telling friends when they asked me, I think in the long run, this is going to be solid. We'll have at least double-digit gains. I still remember this is in the long run, year by year, I'm thinking it will do at least 10%. This is really what I thought. Here's where we are since then. So we're at 85 now. I predicted in the last show 2 weeks ago, we'd be at 100 now. Oh my God.
I predicted 104.3, which is obviously wrong.
And the altcoin season index, you predicted 32 and I predicted 30. We're both wrong there. Oh my God. It's envy and greed. So let's go for next. Okay. So looking ahead, seriously, BTC, altcoin season index, fear and greed. You go first.
I think the markets are going to move sideways. Again, I see Bitcoin floating between the late 80s to early 90s. So let's say between 88 to 93. And altcoin season, I think is just going to stay at 24 next week. And fear and greed index, well, last week I said 22. I'm just going to stick to 22.
I'm saying Bitcoin, I'm serious, 95 to 100, because I think the altcoins are going to tank because of that sell-off, what you're just describing. Altcoin season index, 25, I'm saying. Fear and greed, 22. I thought this through. Makes no sense, but there's neither have the markets. Let's see how we're doing next month. Then, the trading competition. How are you doing there?
I got into some really degenerate trading over the last week, which I was really proud about because I am up from 0.8 Solana to 1.2 Solana. And even though Solana is down by 32% since I first got in, my overall portfolio is still up by 51%.
You are kidding me.
I swear. And I got into such I don't know, I got really lucky with my meme coins.
So you got in, help me out here. So you got in using your Solana because you were 100% in Solana.
Yes.
Last recording. And then you use your Solana, you use your Sol to buy some, what kind of coins? What are we talking about here? Name them.
Complete meme coins. I mean, the tiniest market cap, like really just not. I would not recommend it to anyone. Those kind of
No,
meme
but you're
coins.
out already, right? Because when you have your value in there in the trading competition sheet,
Yeah.
which I link to in the show notes,
Yeah, I'm
you've
out.
already sold it, and then you got your soul.
So there was one called Franklin. That's a turtle, and I did 300% on that, but I only put in $8, so I took out 25, and $8 something, and
You bought
then
a coin from a turtle named Franklin?
yes, yeah. Hence, not financial advice. And then I got
I can't go any
into
higher with my eyebrows. Sorry. This is the highest I can go. Yeah.
well, I got into this meme coin that was named after the Dogecoin founder. So it's called Shibatoshi Nakamoto. Basically, the guys on PumpFun decided to send him the entire ownership of the token and send him $4,000 worth of the token. He decided that he was just going to burn the token, so he sent it to an incinerator address where, the tokens are basically in a dead wallet.
Tokens
can
go
never
to
be
die.
picked. Yes.
Yes.
And my share jumped up by 80%. And in this one, I had actually put quite a bit, but unfortunately, only half of that was for the trading competition, not the full amount.
But you're still up
Yes.
51% in 6 months. Because we started the first week of June. It's now the first week of December. So that's pretty amazing. Me, silly old me, I'm up 3%. I was up 25%. I went up a little bit more. Anyway, now I'm at 28.63. So I'm up 28% over 6 months. Look at this girl gloat. It's such an ugly look. Look, she can't at
saying
least
I'm
do
ugly?
like me. Yeah, no, I'm saying it's an ugly look for you. I'm not saying you're ugly, on the contrary, honey. But you're doing like this. You're really
It's just
gloating when you're beating me after
It's just
losing
so
for a month.
exciting because, yeah, exactly. I went down to $6,
Yeah, it's true. No, I do. I think it's amazing. I have nothing to add. The only thing I can say is, of course, I'm usually down on Bitcoin. Oh my God, I'm down on TSM. That's TSMC, the chip maker. Nvidia up from 145 to 176. AMD chips down. Listen to this. I bought it at 259. It's now at 217. Come on, AMD. What you doing? You're killing me.
That's crazy
Palantir,
though.
I know. I bought it at 207. It's now at 168. Palantir, Alex Karp, hurting me. But the one there's still the amazing one is Broadcom. I got to give it to Broadcom. I bought at 242, now at 402. So my whole portfolio is basically down, but just that little sliver that I had in Broadcom, it pretty much, I wouldn't say doubled, but it's up. I should have put more in Broadcom, of course, but it's always like that, right? I
Wow. And
spread
I'm
a
looking
little bit.
at the history of this sheet, and I saw that the last time we recorded, which was November 14th, you were down on AMD by 4%, and today you're down 16.26.
Yes.
Ouch.
So the more you go up in the value chain, in the AI infrastructure chain, the lower your returns on investments are right now, which looks like it could be the beginning of the bubble bursting. If you look at my portfolio, that's what it looks like. So
Interesting.
that's
Maybe
all
you're
I
just
have for this week.
a terrible investor.
Yes, maybe I'm a terrible investor, but listen to this. I never said I was good at it. I only said I used to do it for a living, but I never said I was good at it. I'm going to Abu Dhabi Finance Week. Thank you. I have a hard time saying the words Abu Dhabi, but I want to say it right. How do they pronounce it? You live there. Tell me.
Abu Dhabi.
I love it. Sounds good. So I'm very curious. Yeah, and well, it happens to be a Formula One race going on there as well.
Yes. Great timing.
Unbelievable. Same with Token 2049. At the end of Token 2049, there happens to be a Formula One race in Singapore.
It's great. It's great.
So anyway, all right. Thanks for watching, listening.
And thanks for tuning in. And we will see you next week.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.